StudyIQ IAS, अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।
May I come in, sir?
Amitanshu?
Yes, sir.
Please take a seat. Amitanshu, you are an electrical and electronics engineer,
Yes, sir.
and your father is also into civil services.
Yes, sir.
Is he still working?
Yes, sir. He is still working. He is at present posted as Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Home Affairs.
Acha. But he was FNCO in the railways, so
Yes,
he came
sir.
on deputation.
Yes, sir. Just after my DAF was submitted, after 2 days, we got the transfer orders.
So he is in Delhi now.
Yes, sir.
As FNCO, he was working in Cuttack,
He was working in Bhubaneswar, sir.
Bhubaneswar. Very good. So like father, like son,
Hopefully, sir.
you are following in his steps. Okay. As FNCO, your father must be dealing with the budget, the railway budget.
So, I
What is the
am not-
duty of a FNCO?
So, with respect to the financial advisor and chief accounts officer in the Eastern Coastal Railways, my father's role was to prepare the set of financial revenues, financial expenditure for the railways, and to ensure that it is done in a just manner so that the funds are properly allocated for the required budget.
I was asking you in the context of the merger that took place, railway budget with the general budget. Both these budgets have been merged now.
Yes, sir.
You are aware of that, huh?
Yes, sir. And it was
When is
merged.
the budget going to be placed in the parliament?
Sir, this year the budget will not be there. It will be an interim budget which will be posted in the next couple of days.
What date?
So I
There is a
don't
date
have, I
fixed
am
for
not
it.
able to recall that fact.
Okay, 1st February.
Okay, sir.
1st February, 11 a.m. That is
Yes.
the time fixed for budget. Okay. Was it a wise decision to merge the railway budget with the general budget?
So, with respect to the merging of the railway budget to the general budget, there are a few factors which came into consideration. First was that initially, when the British established the railways, a huge chunk of the revenue came from the railways itself, and the British felt prudence to ensure that the budget remains separate. But nowadays, the budget of the railways budget and revenues of the railways are not that much in comparison to the total budget. So it made sense to merge it. And additionally, it also helps in synchronizing the railways with other modes of transport like railways, airways, among others.
I note from your def that there is a place called Chandni Chowk in Cuttack also.
Yes, sir.
Have you been to Chandni Chowk in Delhi?
So I haven't had the opportunity to visit it so far.
You must have visited the Cuttack Chandni Chowk.
Yes, sir. I have
Who
visited.
built that Chandni Chowk?
So that Chandni Chowk was built by the Mughals when they came to Odisha, and it was named as Chandni Chowk because of a lot of water tanks which were placed there, which were reflecting the light of the moon. So as a result, that place was named as the Chandni Chowk.
Which Mughal period? Which king? Who was the emperor at the time?
So with respect to the king, Akbar initially conquered Odisha, but the Faujdar was not appointed in the era of till the era
Who
of
built the
Jahangir.
Chandni Chowk in Delhi?
So I believe Emperor Shah Jahan did it for the Mughal ladies who were
His daughter.
visiting that marketplace.
Yes. Okay. Jahanara was his daughter. You are an electrical and electronics engineer. Tell me, what is the future of electrical vehicles in India?
So with respect to the future of electrical vehicles, we see that there have been a few improvements. Under our FAME plan, we are planning to have 30% of electric vehicles by 2030. And with the emerging advances in semiconductor technology, which we are ensuring that we are giving the subsidies to the company in the form of production linked incentives, and we are also inviting foreign companies to establish their brands in India,
Elon Musk.
like Elon Musk, Tesla, and additionally we also have domestic
Tell me,
companies.
Tata is also building electrical vehicles in India. Now, if once Tesla comes into operation, manufacturing in India, can they replace Tata as number one private player?
So when the foreign company comes into another company's territory, the domestic company tends to have an advantage because it is more familiarized with the domestic market and with the needs of the domestic market. So I believe that Elon Musk's Tesla will not replace Tata, but it will incentivize Tata to make better cars and to compete in the economy in a fairer way.
As an electrical engineer, again, can you tell me how does a microwave oven function?
So with respect to the microwave oven, I believe that infrared rays are sent into the device, and as a result the moisture of the food is getting evaporated, and from that heat itself the food is getting cooked and
But
it is
when the
getting heated.
moisture gets out, so it gets heated.
Yes, when it is getting out of that
Are you
food.
sure about this?
So I believe I will have to brush up my facts then.
Okay, thank you. You must. And my last question is, since you have opted PSIR as your optional paper, should India revisit its one China policy, considering the hostile attitude of China, especially the Maldives crisis?
So with respect to the one China policy, we haven't used one China in our official document since 2012 and 13. And with respect to one China, we also have a differential policy by engaging with Taiwan, by engaging with Tibet. So a drastic change like one China policy could be understood in the context of India's future actions with respect to China. That whether India aims to approach a more conflicting attitude with respect to China, or whether it aims for a present day attitude of a middle path of conflict as well as cooperation.
Okay, my last question is, you have given IFS as your number 2 preference,
Yes.
service preference. Supposing you are appointed as the India's permanent representative at the United Nations, what approach will you focus to advocate India's entry into the United Nations Security Council as a permanent member?
So, as the permanent representative of India at the United Nations, my job with respect to ensuring India's seat at the permanent as a permanent member would first be to ensure that consensus is reached among the P5 nations, so that India is able to gain an access into the Security Council, which will include the P5 powers and as well as the other 10 countries which are part of the non-permanent membership. Additionally, I would also need to develop consensus and confidence building measures among all the other United Nations countries, so that they are also supportive of India's membership into the permanent
Should
membership.
you go on pursuing this objective of becoming a permanent member, or is it a futile exercise?
Sir, as my role as the permanent representative, my job would be to ensure that India's membership is proceeding smoothly. But while we have to pursue our permanent membership, we need to get stronger ourselves economically, militarily, culturally, politically, among others. So, a two-way approach of consensus as well as building our internal capacities is the way forward.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Your name is very interesting.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
How do you pronounce it?
It is Amitanshu, sir.
Why Tanshu?
Sir, Anshu means the rays. So, Amritanshu as a whole means cool rays of the moon.
Cool rays on the moon.
Yes, sir.
तो सभी मून वाले आ रहे हैं हाँ? You are doing well. I mean, I was listening to your answers. You are doing very well. Congratulations. I think it's your second attempt.
Yes, sir. It is my second attempt and first interview.
Very good.
Thank you, sir.
But what is this? One of your ministers, Odisha ministers, he was showering currency notes on some Qawwali singer. Is it true?
Sir, I am not aware about the facts of this matter.
Uh-huh.
So, I will not be able to answer that.
Okay, okay. What is, what is the film industry of Odisha called as?
So, it is called as Hollywood, as a form of, as a regional form of Bollywood, derived from the word Bollywood.
Hollywood.
Hollywood.
Why not Oddlywood? It would become that singing style, Oddly way.
Sir, as we know that the film industry has a very minimal interference from the government, and we feel that, and the Odisha film industry felt that as Bollywood is the main film producing industry across the country, it would be better. It would be in better business sense to rename it as Hollywood.
But why all these film industries end up calling themselves the last nomenclature wood? What does it signify?
So it signifies that Hollywood is the preeminent filmmaking industry of the world.
Hollywood.
Hollywood
Yeah.
of USA is the preeminent in the filmmaking industry, and all other film industries are somewhat copying that nomenclature.
But are you sure Hollywood came first? Or Tollywood came first?
Sir, I believe that the name of Hollywood was the first name which had that last syllable of wood.
And it was why they used wood?
Sir, the name of Hollywood was named after a particular city in the US state of Cincinnati, if I believe. So, as the original people came from there, so they thought to rename it as
Okay,
Hollywood.
I'll accept, but do go back and check on both the answers that you've given me.
I will definitely do that, sir. But I will.
Okay. Your father is a civil servant.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now, can you tell me what kind of inspiration or learnings you have imbibed growing up in his family, under his control? Or there was not much control on you?
So I would prefer to say my father guided me a lot,
Yeah.
and I learned the abilities of integrity, discipline, compassion from him.
No, that is good. That is good enough. Certain, styles of working, certain styles of leading that you might have learned from him.
So with respect to the leadership attributes which I believe I have picked up from my father, first would be to ensure that the last man standing is given the due benefits of the scheme which he is entitled to. Second, which I learned from my father, was to stand up for his subordinates, even if it meant that he may incur the wrath of his own superiors or the political masters. And third, I believe that what I have inculcated from my father is the absolute adherence to integrity, so that the public funds are not or are not misappropriated.
Very good. But is it not a phrase, serving the last man, a catchy phrase? Is it practical? Is it possible to do it?
Sir, I sincerely believe that we can serve the last man.
No,
In the past,
sincerely believing is a good thing because you start with that. But in a big country like India, and I'm sure that in your part of the state, there would be areas where things wouldn't have changed over last 5-10 decades.
sir, I would like to answer this question in two parts. With respect to the national situation, we are seeing that in the last few years, through the use of technology and through the use of efficient banking systems, we are able to connect the last man standing with the government. And with respect to my state, I believe that some of the regions of the state have been underdeveloped for quite some time, but with the recent social welfare schemes, the direct benefit transfers to the people, I believe that slowly but surely the last man standing is getting his voice.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but have you visited some of these remote areas of late?
Yes, sir. The past year I visited Koraput, and I saw that that area is developing, but at a slow pace, and some more efforts are needed so that the last man standing, which we are speaking of, is ensured the right.
I understand the CM of your state is equated with God. I mean, that's how people revere him.
Sir, in a personality-driven society like ours, I believe that CM is held in a very high esteem, but the only Lord which the Odias believe in is the Lord Jagannath.
Lord Jagannath. Why it is called Jagannath?
So Jagannath refers to the Lord of the universe, and as Lord Jagannath is considered as an avatar of Lord Vishnu, who is the conservator of the world.
What does it mean, Jagannath?
So Jagannath means the Lord of the universe.
How? You split it and tell me.
Sir, it means Jagan plus Nath. So Jagan means universe, Nath means the upholder.
Okay, good.
Thank you,
Very
sir.
good. How proud do you feel of India's Aditya Sun mission?
Sir, launching a vehicle to the sun and ensuring that the scientific methodologies of placing it in the second Lagrangian point is a very huge task, and I feel very proud of our scientists and the scientific administration at ISRO for accomplishing such a tremendous feat.
Very good. But why it's called Aditya L1?
Sir, Aditya in the Hindi language refers to the sun, and L1 is the updated mission name, while the earlier mission name was Aditya 1. But by accommodating newer instruments into the Aditya 1 plan, the mission was named as Aditya L1.
No, L stands for what?
Sir, I have to read up on that.
1 stands for what?
So 1 stands for the number of the project, which is being
It
launched
should
to the
be
sun.
second. If one was, you said the earlier was one.
Sir, the earlier project 1 was not launched. It was only in the planning phase, and it was updated to Aditya L1 as a result.
It became later one.
Sir, I am not aware of that fact. I will have to brush up on that.
My last question to you. You've been employed also
Yes, sir. I was.
briefly
Yes, sir.
for 2 months.
For 3 months.
Okay. Why such brief? You wanted to taste the private sector or what?
So there are a few factors which resulted in me joining the private sector. First
Tell me
was
one reason.
first was the very difficult interview process which they had conducted, and as I had cleared that, so I felt that I should go and taste the private sector and to see whether it suits my priorities. And it was also during the time when my preparation levels were not that important, because it was after my first mains which I joined the private sector, and I
Oh.
believe it was a very enriching experience.
You enjoyed it.
Yes, sir.
Who was your boss?
So my boss was a manager by the name of Harshita Sethi, and she was managing the consulting for a very large pharmaceutical company of the USA.
This ZS stands for what?
So ZS refers to our two founders. Z stands for Andres Saltners and S stands for Prabhakan Sinha. So these were the guys who started the consulting company while they were professor at Kellogg Institute of Management in
Last
USA.
part of my last this thing. What did you learn from your boss? I mean, did you pick up some quality that you would carry into your civil services career?
So there are two qualities which my immediate boss reflected. First was the taking up of everyone within the planning scheme and ensuring that the voice of every person, even the intern, is also heard, and their collective voices are implemented in the
The
decisions.
last man.
Yes, sir. And second would be the compassion, because she genuinely believed
Okay.
that the pharmaceutical
Okay,
industry.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, Amitanshu.
Thank you, sir.
Your hobby is watching movies.
Yes, sir.
So, do you watch Hindi movies, Bollywood movies?
Yes, sir. I watched them.
Okay, your name is Amitanshu Nayak.
Yes, sir.
So, have you watched the movie Nayak?
Yes, sir. I have watched the movie of Anil Kapoor.
Okay. Who is the director of this movie?
So I have to brush up on that.
Okay. And have you watched 12th Fail?
Yes, sir. I have watched 12th
Okay.
Fail.
Tell me some positive and negative points of this movie.
So the positive ones of the movie 12th Fail refers to the undying spirit of achieving one's goal, even at the cost of tremendous sacrifice. And a negative want of this movie would refer to that, in spite of so many years of independence, we have not been able to connect our villages with the mainstream. But slowly but surely, we are also eliminating that negative which was reflected in that movie.
Okay, tell me, Mr. Karpuri Thakur was awarded with Bharat Ratna Award. So, what do you know about Bharat Ratna Award? Is there any committee who recommends the name?
Sir, I believe that I have to brush up on these facts, as I have not prepared this. I have to brush up on this. I'm very sorry.
Your optional is PSIR.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about the provision to establish a state public service commission.
Sir, to establish a state
Is
public,
there any provision in constitution?
so I believe that the state public commission
Why
is,
you believe?
sir, the constitution states that the state public commission is established by
Where
the
it is
president.
mentioned?
Sir, I am not able to recall the fact at present, the particular article in question.
Who
So I have to brush up on that.
appoints chairperson and members of state public service commission, and who remove?
So the governor appoints the members as well as the chairman of the state public commission, and the head of the public service commission can be removed by the president.
Okay, what is the process of removal?
So the process of removal includes that the chairman of the public state commission is removed only on charges of not following the constitution, and a court committee is established, and if the court committee finds him guilty, the president can remove him.
Not following constitution, are you sure?
So it is due to some other reasons as well, but I have to brush up on that.
Have you heard about joint commission? What is this joint commission?
So joint commission is the process when two or more states approach the center to establish a combined public service commission for the two states.
Okay, your name is, the meaning of your name is?
The
You
cool
said
rays of the moon, sir.
cool rays of the moon. There is a report, there is a study, it is in news that moon is shrinking. What could be the reason behind this?
So I believe that since I'm allowed the opportunity to guess, it could be due to the gravitational forces due to the due to the stars like Sun and Earth, that some amount of material is getting chiseled away from the moon. And another could be its own internal force and the various rotation of the core, and that forces which could have an impact on the density of the moon and the melting of the substances within it.
Okay, ma'am.
Hi, Amitanshu. So, coming to your DAF, right? Vice President at Entrepreneurship Cell. India has a Startup India initiative. What do you think is the major problem in that initiative? Or is there any problem?
Ma'am, with respect to the Startup India scheme, we see that we have had a good amount of successes. The country which was once not known to be a business hub is now having the third largest startup ecosystem in the country. But there is a scope of improvement in the following sectors. First would be to cut down on the regulatory cholesterol, which is affecting our startups to establish themselves and to become bigger in the longer run. And second would be the availability of the trained manpower and the startup accelerators funding, among others.
So, it's also a prediction that there is going to be an investment winter coming in. Do you think that's going to happen? 2024 would be seeing a lot less investment coming to startups?
Ma'am, with respect to the investment winter, there are a few factors that it is a very natural thing which happens to all over the startups of the world. In USA, we also had it in 2001. And with the emerging economic crisis which is affecting the Western world as well as the Eastern world like China, Japan, among others. So an investment winter is incoming. But we are also seeing that Indian VC funders, seed funders are also occupying that space. So even though the foreign funding might reduce, the domestic funding has a chance to rise in this present.
We have also been the head of sponsorship team. What was the major challenge as being the head of a sponsorship team?
Ma'am, with respect to the sponsorship team, there were a few challenges. First would be to train my juniors so as they can pitch the product which they are offering, that is the college fest, properly in front of the sponsors, so that we can get the maximum amount of sponsorship from them. And second would be to ensure that the deliverables of the marketing part are ensured to be given to the sponsors with proper evidence.
So, you have been vice president at an entrepreneurship cell, you have been head of sponsorship. So, you have basically seen major elements of a startup. So, why not have your own startup? Why civil services?
Ma'am, with respect to my entrepreneurship entrepreneurship stint and as the head of sponsorship team, I was working more for the social startups which had less amount of funding, which had a lot of internal problems within them, and I was trying to resolve that. And from that, I felt that if I could contribute to public service on a larger platform, it would be the civil service. So as a result, I opted for that.
Okay. So, in your hobbies, you have written reading non-fiction books. What kind of books?
Recently, ma'am, I completed 2 books. One would be Asian Geopolitics by Shiv Shankar Menon, and second would be The Untold Story of India's Partition by Narinder Sarela.
Okay, so I want to come to Asian geopolitics. Shiv Shankar Menon's other book is called Choices. Have you read that?
Yes, ma'am, I have read that.
So, in that, he talks about what India had to make as a choice when it came to the neighborhood. In today's context, especially in the light of Sri Lanka and Maldives, do you think our neighborhood first policy is failing?
Ma'am, with respect to smaller countries like Sri Lanka or Maldives, we often see a cyclical trend of politics in them. One time the politics is very much pro-India, like it is happening in Sri Lanka, while in other times the politics is completely against India, as it is happening in Maldives. So the mitigation of these systematic risks is the essence of India's neighborhood policy.
Have you read Why Bharat Matters by our External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar?
Ma'am, I was trying to procure that book, but apparently that book is a bestseller and no copies are available.
Have you
so
read
far.
his previous book?
Yes, ma'am, I have read his previous book.
So, what is the name of the previous book?
The Indian Way.
The Indian Way. And he does talk about the fact that our foreign policy right now is very tilted towards strategic autonomy. Do you think non-alignment and strategic autonomy is one and the same thing?
Ma'am, though at first glance they may seem similar, but both of them had a different context leading to their evolving, and both of them function differently. While non-alignment involved India at the margins and not getting involved with the big powers, strategic autonomy reveals that we are now multi-aligning and we are following our own national interest by aligning with everybody and ensuring our rightful place in the Committee of Nations.
Thank you, Amitanshu.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amitanshu. Your interview is over. Kindly wait outside for a few minutes. We'll call you again. Very good performance.
Thank you, sir.
We are all unanimously of the view that you own a very good personality and
Thank
you
you,
are
sir.
a sure material for civil service,
Thank
like
you,
your
sir.
father.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm very happy that you are following in the footsteps of your father.
Thank you, sir.
But 3-4 points,
Yes.
short points I would like to share with you,
Yes.
which you must keep in mind.
Yes.
And you will do very well. I can assure you, you will
Yes.
do very well. I was particularly impressed by your answer about Lord Jagannath. It was very good answer.
Yes.
So you, eye contact, you should look at others also once in a way. Don't fix it on only one
Okay,
person
sir.
who is asking questions, but once in a way look at others also.
Okay, sir.
That is one thing. PSIR का knowledge है आपका, because PSIR is your subject optional.
Yes, sir.
Please brush up.
Yes, sir.
Contemporary issues, madam asked you many questions, so उसको आप brush up कर लीजिए. Very often you have to, when you don't know the answer, just say, I'm sorry, I do not know.
Okay, sir.
Every time you are saying, I have to brush up. No, board is not interested in your brushing up the knowledge. In fact, it is not a test of your knowledge.
Yes, sir.
You know it. Your father must have advised you, I think, about all these things.
Yes, sir. He
And it
advised
is
me.
a test of your communication skill, your
Yes, sir.
articulation, your gestures, postures,
Yes.
how you enter
Yes.
into the chamber. Confidence level is very important. You have all these qualities. You are fortunate that you have inherited these qualities from your father, and I am very sure about your excellent performance in the interview also, actual interview. So PSIR को आप थोड़ा brush up कर लीजिए.
Yes, sir. I will be
Keep
brushing.
yourself, because many questions are bound to be asked
Yes.
on PSIR. And थोड़ा gestures तो ठीक है, आपका postures
Yes, sir.
वगैरह ठीक है. थोड़ा आपका figures, keep your hands like this is better. Don't open your fingers
Okay, sir,
like
I
this.
see.
हाँ, just like that. हाँ. It was very good, but थोड़ा सा हो जाए तो ठीक है. और when is your interview?
Sir, on the 1st of March.
1st of March. So there's still 1 month ahead. You
Yes,
have got a
sir.
lot of carry out a self-analysis of your DEF
Yes, sir.
and generate your own questions
Yeah.
and write down answers. Practice those answers.
Yes, sir.
Some answers are bound to be asked
Yes,
because
sir.
everything flows from the DEF.
Yes, sir.
Although there is no written syllabus for the interview,
Yes, sir.
everything flows from the desk. But they can ask you anything.
Yes, sir.
Contemporary issues are
Yes, sir.
generally there is a focus on contemporary issues, current affairs.
Yes, sir.
And that you should read your newspapers every day.
Yes, sir.
So I think you will do. Sir, aap add karo.
Quickly, one point. You can imagine from the chairman's this thing that your father will be continuously with you in the interview board. There will be a lot of things, relating to him. Anyway, you will be blessed.
Oh, I hope so, sir.
Quickly, one thing is that, in long list of your interests and hobbies, there is nothing physical hobby except badminton.
Yes, sir.
And I don't know how often do you play badminton.
So, not very often.
It's not possible also. You always need 1 or 2, 3 persons. And then a proper tennis, the badminton court and things like. So what I suggest to you is that you, although you look physically fit and smart, but pick up a good physical hobby now and practice it for 1 month.
Okay, sir.
You have that time. And physical hobby could be as simple as walking, jogging,
Yes, sir.
or yoga at home.
Yes, sir.
Ideal is yoga.
Yes, sir.
And then you read a lot on that. There will be questions.
Yes, sir.
Although you have not mentioned it in DAF,
Yes, sir.
suppose somebody comes and says, why no physical activity and only all indoor stuff that you can jump in. Sir, I've recently started, without saying last month, I've recently picked up a new hobby.
Yes, sir.
You will not only look fitter with that, you are fit, but you will look more fit.
Okay, sir.
Secondly, it will make your DAF and interest area more rich.
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I think you were excellent. You managed all the questions like an pro out here. So, best of luck.
Very good. Excellent. Huh?
Sir, will I be receiving any feedback sheet or?
I think downstairs you
You will
will
get a video.
You will get
Okay,
a
I will
video.
get it. Okay, sir.
Second attempt is going to be absolutely you will be in.
Let's hope so, sir.
And,
How many
and
mocks have
hopefully
you,
if
sorry,
you're-
sir, how many mocks have you been given?
Ma'am, 6 or 7 I have given, and this is, I think, the 6th or the 7th one.
Nah, because the confidence, the way you're speaking does indicate that you have had this practice.
I have tried to inculcate the feedback which they gave.
All the best.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
StudyIQ IAS. अब तैयारी हुई अफोर्डेबल।